From Mel Hertz, author of Still Here, this is See You in Manila, the final episode.
Her condo was exactly what I expected. Neat, but lived in. Books on a shelf, shoes by the door, a mug in the sink. A framed photo of her parents sat beside a graduation photo of Andi. This was where she came home. And somehow, being invited inside felt more intimate than I expected. Andi disappeared into the kitchen. "Coffee?" she called. Yes. I walked toward the window. Manila spread out below me in lights. A moment later, I heard Andi behind me. "You're very quiet again." I turned. She was holding 2 mugs. "I told you I'm capable of it." "I'm beginning to believe you." She handed me one. Our fingers touched. Neither of us moved right away. Andi looked at me. "You know, I don't do casual." "I know." She held my gaze for a second. "Good." I set my coffee down. Her eyes stayed on mine as I took the mug from her hand and set it beside mine. No wind this time. No family taking pictures. No excuse. I stepped closer. Andi stayed where she was. "Still confident?" I asked. "More so now." Her smile was small. I touched her cheek. Then I kissed her. Softly. Just enough to finally know what it felt like. Her lips were warm and sweet. Her hand came to rest lightly against my shoulder. When I pulled back, she looked at me. Neither of us spoke. I had kissed plenty of women, and I knew what came next. Usually. Andi smiled. "You're very..." Before she could finish, I kissed her again. This time, there was nothing tentative about it. I wrapped my arms around her waist and pulled her closer. Andi's arms slid around my neck. She kissed me back, and for a few seconds, I forgot about everything except her. When I pulled back, it was only far enough to breathe. The teasing was gone from her eyes. Then she pulled me back to her and kissed me. I kissed her back, deeper this time. Her arms tightened around my neck as I pulled her even closer. The kiss went on. Somewhere in the middle of it, I remembered what she'd said. She didn't do casual. And with Andi, neither did I. I pulled away, abruptly. Andi stared at me, still close enough that I could feel her breath. "I should go." She blinked. "What?" "I really should go." I reached for my messenger bag. Andi watched me. "Jess." "I know." "Do you?" "Not really." That made her laugh. Thank God. I slipped my messenger bag over my shoulder. "I had a really good day." "So did I." "And that was..." I looked at her. She waited. "Very good?" Andi smiled. "Are you sure about that?" "I'm slightly overwhelmed." "I can tell." I turned toward the door and immediately bumped my shin against the ottoman. Andi pressed her lips together. I looked at her. "Don't." She shook her head, trying not to laugh. "I'm not running away, you know." Andi's mouth twitched. "I didn't say anything." "I'm leaving responsibly." That did it. Andi laughed. I opened the door before I could embarrass myself any further. "Good night." "Good night, Jess." I made it into the hallway. The door closed behind me. I stood there for 3 full seconds. Then I quietly said, "Oh, shit." After that night, we stopped pretending. There was no conversation where we officially decided we were dating. We just were. Andi kissed me when she saw me. I held her hand when we walked. We found whatever time her schedule allowed. We kissed. A lot. But that was as far as we'd gone. Andi still hadn't spent the night at my apartment. Every time it got late, I sent her home. I heard her the first time. She didn't do casual. A little over a week had passed since our first kiss. One night, Andi came over after work and stayed for dinner. By 9:30, we were sitting at opposite ends of the sofa answering emails. I was in pajama pants and an old t-shirt. Andi was still in her work trousers and blouse, her heels by the door, and a pair of my slippers on her feet. Music played quietly while we worked. For a while, neither of us said much. And strangely, I loved it. I had never thought much about being with someone without needing to entertain each other. I closed my laptop. "Done?" Andi asked. "For tonight?" "Lucky you." She kept typing. Her hair was loose over one shoulder. She had one leg tucked underneath her, completely focused on whatever she was answering. I watched her for a moment. This wasn't Beau Roque Andi, or Vice President Andi, or even Tagaytay Andi. Andi, on my sofa, in my slippers. I liked this version of Andi much too much. The song changed, something slow, a little sexy. Andi finished her email, closed her laptop, and caught me looking at her. "What?" "You're beautiful." Her expression softened. "Now you're just flattering me." "I'm serious." Andi held my gaze for a moment. I stood and held out my hand. "Dance with me." She looked around the living room. "Here?" "Yes." "I'm wearing work clothes." "I'm aware." She laughed. "Jess?" "Come on." Andi looked at my hand for a second, then put hers in mine. I pulled her up. She stepped out of my slippers and left them beside the sofa. I led her toward the open space near the window. Her arm settled around my neck. Mine went around her waist. We started moving slowly with the music, barefoot in the middle of my temporary apartment. For a while, neither of us said anything. She rested her cheek near mine. Her breathing had changed, a little quicker now against my neck. I pulled her closer. She lifted her head. Our faces were inches apart. "You're quiet again," she whispered. "I'm having a moment." "Should I be worried?" "Very much so." She smiled. I touched her cheek and kissed her tenderly. When I pulled back, her expression had changed. I pulled her closer and kissed her again. Her fingers slid into the hair at the back of my neck. The kiss deepened. Somewhere in the middle of it, we stopped dancing. Neither of us seemed to notice. When we finally pulled apart, we were both breathless. Andi rested her forehead against mine. "Jess." "Yeah?" She looked at me. No teasing, no joke. And for once, I didn't need one either. "Are you sure?" I asked. Andi nodded. Then she kissed me. I kissed her back. When we pulled apart, I took her hand and led her toward my bedroom. The music kept playing. After that night, something between us settled. The tension that had been building for weeks was gone, replaced by something warmer, easier. I felt closer to her. Happier, too. We touched more without thinking about it, sat closer, reached for each other in passing, and when she stayed late, neither of us seemed in much of a hurry for her to leave anymore. A few days later, I found a toothbrush beside mine in the bathroom. I stared at it. Pink. "Andi?" "What?" she called from the kitchen. I walked into the kitchen holding it. "Pink? Really? It had to be pink?" "What's wrong with pink?" "Nothing, it's just very you." She laughed and went back to making coffee. The toothbrush stayed. And so did Andi, more and more. I liked waking up with her there, working beside her. Hearing her complain about traffic while she got ready in the morning. I liked the ordinary parts, maybe too much. The problem was my flight. Again, this one I couldn't move. I had things in San Francisco I actually needed to deal with. Work, documents. A life I had mostly ignored for the last few weeks. One evening, Andi and I were sitting on my sofa when I told her, "I have to go back next Tuesday." Her face barely changed, but I knew her better now. "How long?" she asked. "A few weeks?" "A few?" "I'm not sure." Andi looked down at her hands. "I can come back." She nodded. "I know." Something about the way she said it made me uneasy. The next morning, the pink toothbrush was gone. I noticed immediately. Over the next few days, other things changed too. Andi still came over. We still had dinner. She still kissed me when she left. But she left earlier now. She stopped staying the night. Finally, one evening, we were sitting together on my sofa when I asked, "Are you avoiding me?" "No." "Andi." She looked at me. "I'm trying to get used to it again." Something tightened in my chest. "I told you I'm coming back." "I know. You keep saying that." "Because I believe you." "Then what's wrong?" Andi was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at me. "You've done this a few times before." "Done what?" "Lisbon, Bangkok, Seoul, Mexico City." I went still. "You go somewhere, you stay for a while, you meet people, then you leave." "Andi, so what am I, Jess?" I didn't answer. Her eyes held mine. "Am I just another one of your cities?" "No, Andi." The answer came immediately. "Then what am I?" I looked at her, and suddenly there was only one answer. "You're someone I'm in love with." Andi went still. So did I. Apparently, that had to be said. "I love you, Andi. I'm in love with you," I said. Her eyes filled. I probably should have done that better. "Jess." "What?" "You really have no idea when to stop talking." "I'm nervous." She laughed through the tears gathering in her eyes and touched my face. "I love you too, Jessica Alvarez." Everything in me went quiet. Not scared, not trapped. Quiet. I kissed her slowly. When we pulled apart, she stayed close. "I still have to go back to San Francisco, though." "I know." "But you're not just another city." Andi closed her eyes for a second. Then she rested her head against my shoulder. "I know." Tuesday morning arrived. Airports had always been easy for me. Check-in, security, gate, leave. Adding someone I loved complicated the system. Andi drove me to the airport. At the curb, I pulled my suitcase from Andi's trunk and set it beside me. "A few weeks. We'll make it work." "I know. You're supposed to sound more convincing." "I'm trying." I kissed her. Before, goodbye had always been part of the arrangement. This time, it felt like an interruption. "I love you." "I love you too." I pulled her into my arms, and she held me tight. When we let go, I picked up my suitcase. "Text me when you land." "I will." Then I walked inside. Long distance was adorable for approximately 9 days. We sent pictures, video called while eating. Andi complained that I looked terrible first thing in the morning. I reminded her that she had willingly dated me. She said she was reviewing that decision. Then real life got involved. My morning was Andi's night. Her morning started while I was finishing my day. We missed calls, rescheduled them, stayed awake when we shouldn't have. By the time I had been back in San Francisco for a month, everything between us seemed to require careful planning. We were supposed to talk at 7 one morning. I logged in 12 minutes late. Andi was sitting at her dining table, still wearing work clothes. "You're late," she said. "I know. Sorry. A meeting ran over." "It's okay." It wasn't. I could see it. "What time is it there?" 10:15. I winced. "When did you get home?" about an hour ago. You should sleep. I wanted to talk to you. Andi rubbed her eyes. Something about her looked different. Not unhappy exactly. Worn down, maybe. Andi? I'm okay. You don't look okay. She was quiet. Then she said, I almost made a mistake at work today. My stomach tightened. What happened? I caught it. But I don't make mistakes like that. I waited. Andi looked away from the screen. I was tired. Because of me? Because I stayed up until 1 waiting for you last night. I felt sick. You should have gone to sleep. I know. You don't have to wait for me. I know that too. There were too many things we both knew. None of them were helping. I can change my schedule, I said. You've already changed it. I can change it more. And then what? I didn't understand the question. Whatever we need. Andi closed her eyes. Jess. What? I can't do this. Everything inside me stopped. What do you mean? She looked at the screen again. Her eyes were already wet. I can't keep living around when you call. You don't have to, but I am. Andi, I'm checking my phone during meetings. I'm staying awake when I should be sleeping. I'm moving things around so we can talk for 20 minutes before one of us has to go. We can fix that. Her face crumpled for half a second before she controlled it. That's what you always say. I went quiet. We'll adjust it, she continued. You'll change something, I'll change something. You'll come back for a few weeks, then you'll leave again. No, you don't know that. I can come back now. The second I said it, Andi closed her eyes, and I knew. I knew before she said anything. That's what I mean, Jess. I couldn't breathe properly. I have spent my whole adult life trying to build something stable, she said. And I don't want to start building my life around when you're here and when you're gone. A tear slid down her cheek. She wiped it away. I wanted to argue. I wanted to tell her I had changed flights, bought hangars, kept an apartment, crossed an ocean. Instead, I remembered what she had said before I left. Am I just another one of your cities? What are you saying? I asked. Andi looked at me for a long time. I think we need to stop. The room around me disappeared. I stared at her face on the screen. No. She covered her mouth for a second, then lowered her hand. I'm sorry. I can fly out tomorrow. Jess, I can. I know you can. That hurt more than anything else she had said, because suddenly I understood. A plane ticket wasn't the answer. It had never been the answer. I looked down. For once, I had nothing to offer her. Not a new schedule, not another month, not another return date. You know I love you, Andi said quietly. My throat tightened. Then don't do this. The call ended. I stared at the blank screen. For a few seconds, I didn't move. Then the tears came. I covered my face and let them. Andi loved me. I loved her. Sometimes love just wasn't enough. My first instinct was to book a flight. Of course it was. I opened the airline app. Then I heard her voice again. I know you can. I closed it. For the first time in years, a plane ticket wasn't going to fix anything. So I stayed in San Francisco. It was terrible. Enzo called a few days later to check on me. I told him I was miserable. He was appropriately sympathetic. Mostly. The days after the breakup were worse than I expected. Andi was everywhere in my head. I wondered if she was sleeping better, if she was eating on time instead of working through lunch, if work was easier now that she wasn't waiting for my calls. More than once, I opened our messages and started typing, then deleted it. She had asked me to stop, So I did. A couple of friends dragged me out one night, and I drank enough to briefly believe tequila was a reasonable response to heartbreak. It wasn't. I had ended relationships before. I had said goodbye to women I genuinely liked and moved on to the next city. But I had never been on this side of it. I had never loved someone enough to make me want to stay. That hurt in ways I was completely unprepared for. But somewhere in the middle of missing her, one question kept coming back. Not, how fast can I get back to Manila? What happens after I get there? Another temporary apartment? Another promise that I could always come back? Andi had been right. I had spent years treating flexibility like an answer. Maybe it was only a tool. The following Monday, I went into the office and asked my manager for a meeting. I didn't mention Andi. This wasn't a romantic proposal. It was a business one. Our company already had clients across Asia Pacific, and Manila put me closer to several teams. I could shift part of my portfolio, keep some U.S. responsibilities, travel back to San Francisco when necessary, make Manila my official base. My manager sat across from me, studying me for a moment. You want to relocate to the Philippines? Yes. Permanently? That word made me sit a little straighter. Yes. He leaned back in his chair. You've worked from half the planet already. Exactly. This is different. Looks like it. HR legal. Tax questions I had spent my entire nomadic life successfully avoiding. 2 more meetings, a revised client assignment. It took almost 3 weeks. And through all of it, I wondered how Andi was doing. I hoped she wasn't as miserable as I was. I still didn't contact her. Not because I didn't want to, because I didn't have anything new to tell her yet. Then the email arrived. Approved. I read it twice. Then once more. I didn't call Andi. Because I hadn't done this to win an argument or convince her to take me back. I had done it because, for the first time in years, I knew where I wanted my life to be. The next 2 weeks were a different kind of chaos. I sold what I didn't need, gave away more than I expected to, packed what mattered, shipped a few boxes ahead to Manila. Apparently, moving to another country required slightly more planning than extending a hotel reservation. By Sunday morning, there wasn't much left to do except go. I headed to the airport with more luggage than I had traveled with in years, and no return ticket. Somewhere over the Pacific, it occurred to me that I had spent most of my adult life being very good at leaving. Airports, suitcases, temporary apartments, new cities. This time was different. I wasn't going back to Manila for another few weeks. I was going home. That thought should have scared me. It didn't. Losing Andi did. After I landed, I went to my apartment first. I left my luggage in the bedroom, took a shower, changed into clean trousers and one of my better shirts, and fixed my hair. Good enough. I headed to Andi's condo. I had imagined what I would say on the plane, at immigration, in the car, in the elevator. I raised my hand to knock. Stopped. Then I turned around and started walking toward the elevator. I made it about 6 steps. This was ridiculous. I turned around, went back to her door, and knocked before I could change my mind again. Andi opened the door and stared at me. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Every version of what I had planned to say disappeared. She looked beautiful. My chest tightened. "What are you doing here?" she asked. "I need to tell you something." She looked at me. "You flew 15 hours to tell me something? Are you out of your mind?" "That makes it sound inefficient." "Jess." "Sorry." There was no smile. "Fair." I swallowed. I spoke to my boss. Her expression changed. "And?" I asked to move. Andi went still. "To Manila." She stared at me. "I'm moving my work base here. I'll handle more of the Asia-Pacific portfolio and go back to San Francisco when I need to." "I don't understand." I took a breath. I'm not talking about another trip, Andi. Her expression shifted, but she still didn't say anything. I will live here. Andi said nothing. My heart was beating hard enough that I was fairly certain she could hear it. I didn't do this so you'd take me back, I said. I mean, I would very much like you to take me back. That almost got a smile. But I decided to move here before I got on the plane, before I knew what you would say. Why? There was so much inside that one word. Because you were right. Her eyes filled. I kept telling you I could come back. I thought that was commitment. Change flights, stay longer, keep coming back. I took a breath. But you didn't need someone who kept coming back. My voice caught. You needed someone you could share your life with. A tear slipped down Andi's cheek. I know Manila is your life, I said. Your work, your family, everything you built. I'm not asking you to leave any of it. Andi looked at me. I'm asking if there's still room for me in it. She was quiet for a moment. You scared me from the beginning, Jess. I went still. You leave. That's what you do. And I knew that before any of this started. Her eyes filled again. I kept telling myself we were just friends, that you were fun to be with, that I wouldn't let myself get in too deep. She gave a small, shaky laugh. See where that got me? I almost smiled. I'm still scared, she said. I don't think that just goes away. I swallowed. I know. Andi looked at me for a long moment. But I fell in love with you anyway. For a moment, neither of us moved. Then she stepped into the hallway. I thought she was going to tell me to leave. Instead, she wrapped both arms around me. The breath left my body. I held her. Andi buried her face against my neck. I closed my eyes. Neither of us spoke for a while. Eventually, she pulled back. We should probably take this conversation inside. She held the door open, and I followed her inside. The second the door closed, she looked at me again. You actually moved to Manila? Yes. And you didn't tell me. I thought surprising you was romantic. It's not. Okay. It's extremely stressful. I'm getting that. Andi laughed. A wet, shaky laugh. God, I had missed that sound. I touched her face. I'm sorry. For which part? There are several. Yes. Then she kissed me. It was not careful. I pulled her closer. When she pulled back, she stayed close. You're really staying? Yes. And when you go to San Francisco? I return to you. Her eyes closed. That was the answer. Not everything was solved. I would still travel. Andi would still work too much. I would still forget when to stop talking and get the face. But for the first time, we were figuring it out from the same place. Andi looked at me. Where are you staying? I hesitated. I was hoping we could discuss that. No. Okay. You have your own apartment. For now? Don't push it. I smiled. Wouldn't dream of it. That is a lie. Probably. 2 months later, work sent me to San Francisco for 4 days. I packed one suitcase. Andi drove me to the airport. At the curb, I kissed her goodbye, then pulled her into my arms. 4 days, I said. I know. And my return flight is already booked. I'm very proud of you. I've changed. Let's not get carried away. I love you. Andi smiled. I love you more. I leaned in and kissed her one more time. Then I reached for my suitcase and started toward the terminal. I looked back once. She was still there. I smiled and walked inside. For years, I thought freedom meant having a life that was entirely mine. I still do. I just finally found someone I want to share it with.
Enjoyed the story? Subscribe for more lesbian love stories.